Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Technique Tuesday. And I can't believe this, but I'm on episode 10. That's super, super exciting for me. I am enjoying putting together these videos every week, and it's nice to be back again. We're going to talk about cardstock today because not all cardstocks are the same, and I just want to make sure that everybody understands what's different about our cardstock and give you some tips about what you can do with it, and instead of just cutting it up and attaching it to your projects. We do have a special going on right now called Cardstock Carnival, and I want to make sure that you know about it because it's pretty awesome. Now this flyer, the colors are all off. My printer is acting up funny. And I wasn't going to waste more ink to print it again. So this is what you get to see. Anyway, so our promotion is called Cardstock Carnival, and there are huge discounts on all of our cardstocks this month. So here we go with single pack cardstocks. These are all the colors we carry. You can buy a 24 pack at a 15% discount. So it's only 19 bucks for 24 sheets, which is pretty awesome. And I'm going to leave that there. But we've also put together some really special bundles. And this, see here, like my printer just went wonky. Those colors are much nicer in person. Anyway, so we've got color family bundles that are different prices. Oh, no, they're all the same price. So $20.25. And you get different I'm not sure exactly how many sheets. Maybe it's 24 sheets. Anyway, I haven't really counted it up, but there's different combinations of colors. So there's dark red and purple and yellow green and neutrals and all of those fun things. So it's a good way to get this. Definitely, cardstock is a crafting staple, right? So, and then we have this really awesome deal at the bottom here, 30% off, and you get multiple sheets of every single color that we carry right now, which is awesome. So if you're wondering where to go, you're just going to go to simplycreatingctmh.com and click on the promotions and you click on Cardstock Carnival. So I'm going to leave this up here. There we go. So here's an example of our cardstock. So we have lots of colors. I think we have 40, 41, 42. Our color of the year is Bluebell. And then I just kind of pulled a bunch off my rack. We have Sangria and Lilac and Sapphire and Sage, Lemonade. I think this is Nectarine and Espresso. So lots of different shades. So a couple of things about our cardstock. So colored cardstock, everything except for black, has a true color on one side and a lighter color on the back. And guess what? I was showing you the lighter side. So this is the true and this is the lighter color. So actually, there might be 40 colors, but we actually have 80 shades, which is pretty awesome. And so this one is Sangria. Some of them are really obvious. You can see the color difference. Lilac. Some of them are a little more subtle in the differences in colors. I'm not going to go through all of them, but that just gives you an idea of how many different things you can do with it. So all of our cardstock has a white core, and that's important to know because it will show depending on what you do with it. So first of all, you can minimize that by inking the edges of your cardstock with the same color ink, because if this is Bluebell in cardstock, it's also Bluebell in our ink pads and Bluebell in the pattern papers that you find on in our line. And so those things, you can trust that those colors are going to match. So if you don't want the white side to show on a project, you can just ink the edge with the same color. And I'm going to talk a little bit about tone-on-tone stamping in a minute. But I'm going to show you a few other things first. I'm going to get my stuff over here. Whoops, I'm dropping stuff. The joys of going live. All right, so it's got, like I said, we've got a true color side and a light side. Sometimes we call it the dark side and the light side. I always feel like I'm talking Star Wars when I say dark side, because our family's super Star Wars fans. It has a white core and it matches the ink and other patterns. Okay, so that is important to know. So what can you do with this other than sticking it on your project and using it as a base or whatever? So there's a couple things that you can do. One of the things that I like to do is actually, and it wasn't super popular for a while, but it's starting to come back, and that is distressing. So with this piece here, it has been embossed with an embossing folder, and some of the white core is showing through, and I want that. I want that look. And so what I'm going to do is actually take a sanding block, and we don't sell these anymore. You have to let me know if any of you have one of these. I think they came in a blue pattern as well. We used to sell a sanding kit. These things are awesome. So all you do is actually just rough up even more so that your embossed pattern really starts to show. Now I'm doing this in the air, so it's not, maybe not getting the best. But you can see right now how that really shows off the pattern of the embossing folder. You can also do this, I've got dust in my mouth now. You can also do this by using an embossing tool and putting lines in your cardstock. So you can make a frame around and then use the sanding block to go all the way around wherever you drew your lines with your embossing tool. There's all kinds of, it's really cool when it starts to, and then the other thing is you can add more ink to this to make it the white really pop. I'm not going to do that today. Get rid of some of that dust. The other cool thing that you can do is tearing your paper. Now, let me see. Where's my other one? Oh, there it is. So if you were part of my Christmas card workshop a while ago, you would have seen these two cards. And this was back in November. We had this. So you can see how we've torn the paper to show the white core on this card. And on this card, we tore the white paper, but we put it on the other side. And I'm going to show you how to do that. I just forgot to grab a piece of paper. So let me grab, I just happen to have a bit of fern paper here. This is just one of my scraps. So I think this is an old style. It just only has one color. But the way that you do this with a controlled tear, so you don't want to just go like you would tear a piece of paper into pieces for scrap. You need to do this controlled. And so what we're going to do is we're going to tear towards us if we want the white core to show on this side. So we're just going to go really carefully, and you can do this with either hand. And you can manipulate the tear. And if I'm going to flip it around, turn the other way, and I'll tear with my right hand. But you can do all kinds of really, you can do hills and valleys and all kinds of stuff like that as you tear. Now, if you want to use the other side, so let's say this is a dark and a light side, again, Star Wars, and you wanted to use this side, you just turn the wrong side towards you and tear towards you. Always tear towards you, not away, because you have less control that way. So there is one thing you can do with this. Now this little edge here can be dressed up on all kinds of ways, and I didn't do it on this sample, but in the workshop that I did at Christmas time, I showed how you could put some shimmer brush along the edge of that tear to make it look like sparkly snow. You could do that with a sand colored paper to mimic a beach and waves and all kinds of neat stuff that you can do with a white core. You can't do that with a colored core very easily at all. The other thing that we can do really nicely with our stamps and our inks is tone-on-tone stamping. Now, I'm going to give you a look at a card that's in our newest catalog. It's super cute. Isn't that adorable? Okay, when I saw these thin cuts, yep, they're thin cuts. This is what they look like. Super cute. This is Build a Rainbow Z3907, and it's at the back of the catalog. It comes with awesome stamps that match. This one is where I got my sentiment from, called Sunny Days Ahead, and this is what I did my tone-on-tone stamping with. I'm going to show you the pieces I used. So, here's the card again. This bottom piece here, let me see if it'll focus on there. There we go. This bottom piece here was stamped with the grid, this grid, as well as the peacock piece here, which was actually stamped with black. Does that show very well on the camera? A little bit. it was stamped with black because I wanted it to stand out more. And then we have Smoothie, Sundance, and Fern. And those were all stamped with these. And you can see, these are my pieces. So this was left over. I stamped them all, and then I cut them. It's not show. Come on, camera, focus. There we go. So these were, and this, here's another great thing. Thin cuts are awesome for using up little scraps. Look at these little pieces of paper I used. So again, this one was black. And then here we have tone on tone. All right, so really easily, you just choose the same color. It's not going to disappear into your paper. It creates a tone on tone look, kind of like a watermark, but a little bit darker, depending on the shades that you're using. Obviously, your lighter shades are going to have a lighter effect, just like this lilac one doesn't pop as much as the Fern and the Smoothie do, because those are darker, more pigmented colors. And so those are going to have a different look. The other thing that you can do is use your cardstock as a stencil. And that's what I did with this. And the inking of the cloud underneath here, this one right here, I just used what was left over from my thin cut. And I used a sponge dauber, which I did pull aside. I don't know where it is right now. It's probably covered up. But I just used a sponge dauber, and I held it in there. You could tape it down with washi tape if you were concerned about it moving. And you just dab and maybe swirl a little bit. You don't want to rub too much because it is cardstock. So the more wet stuff you put on it, the more it's going to pill up. So you don't want to do too much. You want to just be careful with that. You're not breaking down the surface of your cardstock, otherwise you're going to get little tiny pieces of cardstock in your finished product. So that's just something to keep in mind. There's another thing. Oh, I'm going to go way back. I went way back and I looked at what's a layout I have done with tone on tone stamping. And this is what I found. So this is from convention way back. Like, I don't know if you remember seeing this here in the catalog, this layout. That's how old this is. This is the first Cricut collection, I think. Anyway, we went to Walt Disney World, but look at how beautiful this stamping looks. And there's a second page here that I'll pull over. Let's see if I can get it all on there. There we go. So beautiful images up here and down here, and it was a very subtle way to add some interest to an otherwise plain background. So it's just cardstock, and then all of the pieces have been inked with a sponge or a dauber. I don't remember now which one I used because it's too long ago. And then that same ink color was used to stamp on the layout so that it adds a little bit of interest and it allows your eye to flow across the pages, which is what you want. So that is, I can't believe I didn't write the year on this. Oh, well, here, Canada had been around, CTMH had been in Canada for 10 years. That's how old this paper is. All right, there's one more thing I want to show you, and that is scissor distressing. So the easiest way, I'm going to pull this little piece of paper back in again that I used before. There's two ways to do scissor distressing. So all of these things were really popular like 10 years ago. They're all coming back. Paper tearing, scissor distressing, and all of that kind of stuff. That distress look is all coming back into the paper crafting world. So what you're going to do is open your scissors, and you have two options. You either go on the sharp part of the blade or the dull side. So if I want to get the most distressing, I'm going to go on the sharp side, and yeah, I had to make sure, and you just rub it against the edge as much or as little as you want. In fact, you can even cut into and make your edge of your paper look really distressed, and then you would fold that little edge over and create more. So I hope that's coming through. Or you can turn your scissor the other way and just do a little bit so that the edge is just slightly bent. I don't know if you can see that difference, hopefully. So let me show you a layout I just finished. And I don't even know if I've shared it anywhere yet, except for maybe our maker group. This is what I did for my son. This is Nathaniel. And here is a strip of cardstock that I stamped, obviously not tone on tone, but I stamped all of the words of from one stamp set. All the images, every single word is in this thing. And then what I did is I actually did a lot of distressing. So I distressed the edges of this cardstock here, but I also did it with the pattern paper. And I wanted to show you just what you can do, even the pattern paper. But you could do, I know this is pattern paper, it looks a little different, but it would be the same sort of technique. So that is another way to add just a little bit of interest to the page and allow your artwork to really shine. So hopefully that is helpful. So again, you can tone on tone stamping, paper tearing, edge distressing with your scissors, all kinds of good stuff. Don't forget about this awesome deal that we have going on. And you can shop at simplycreating.ctmh.com. All right. Please don't hesitate to post a question if you have any, and let me know which technique do you love to use, or have you been using, or are you going to start using? I'd love to hear that. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye.